Sa loob ng plenaryo ng House of Representatives, muling nagkatanungan at nagkulitan ang mga lehislador sa harap ng isang isyung matagal nang bumabagabag sa publiko. Saan nga ba napupunta ang pera ng bayan? Nagsimula ang araw ng maglatag si Congressman Isidro Ungab ng serye ng mahahalagang tanong hinggil sa mga alokasyon at sa paggamit ng unprogrammed appropriations. Mga pondong madaling ilipat at madaling mapakinabangan, anya, kung hindi iingatan. Magalang ngunit matahlas si Ungab nang isa-isahin ang mga numero. Daan-daan bilyong pisong alokasyon para sa iba't ibang sektor at malaking bahagi rito ang napupunta sa infrastruktura at sa mga proyektong sinasabing para sa flood control. Ngunit ang punto niya, paulit-ulit, ay hindi lang bilang kundi ang accountability. Dapat malinaw ang linya. Dapat may itemized list ang bawat pisong inilalabas at hindi dapat may loyo na nagiging dahilan para mawala sa tamang gamit ang pondo. Sumunod si Congresswoman Bernadette Herrera na umangat ang boses sa pagtalakay sa detalye ng proseso. Ipinunto niya ang problema ng delayed releases at ang kawalan ng sapat na breakdown sa mga inilabas na pondo. Paano aabot sa tao ang serbisyo kung ang pera ay nananatili lang sa mga account? Tanong niya. At mariing hiniling ang mas mahigpit na monitoring mula sa Department of Budget and Management. Binanggit niya na ang flexibility na sinasabi ng iba ay nagiging lagusan, hindi para sa agarang pangangailangan ng publiko, kundi para sa madaling paglipat-lipat ng kaban. Hindi rin nagpahuli si Congresswoman Bernadette Herrera. Inirekomenda niya na gawing publikong access ang mga detalye. Isang digital dashboard kung saan makikita ng sino man kung saan napupunta ang pondo, kung ano ang status ng proyekto at kung sino ang responsable sa implementasyon. Para kay Herrera, hindi sapat ang mga pahayag sa mikropono. Kailangan ng konkretong hakbang, open data, real-time reporting at isang mas maagap na audit mechanism upang hindi umasa ang bayan sa haka-haka lamang. Sa gitna ng pag-uusap, nilahad naman ni Congressman Paulo Henry Marcoleta ang kanyang matalim na pagpuna. Pinagtulungan niyang ilahad ang mga proyektong paulit-ulit na pinupunduhan ngunit hindi natatapos. Ang mga kontrata na tila inuulit sa iba't ibang pangalan at ang posibilidad ng overpricing. Ipinunto niya ang ilang linya sa panukalang budget, kabilang ang pondo para sa mga international gatherings at iminungkahi ang repurposing ng ilan sa mga ito tungo sa mas direktang serbisyo. Dagdag pondo sa edukasyon, silid-aralan at irigasyon. Hindi nagtagal. Naging mainit ang sagutan. Tinanggihan ng komite ang ilan sa mga amendamentong inilahad at nagkaroon ng dibisyon sa botohan. Ipinahayag ng ilang miyembro na ang mga panukalang ito ay naipasok na raw sa second reading version. Samantalang iba'y bumatikos na hindi sapat ang transparency sa pamamaraan ng paglalatag ng mga amendment. Sa ilang sandali, ramdam ang pag-igting ng emosyon. Hindi na ito simpleng usaping teknikal, kundi refleksyon ng matagal na frustrasyon ng publiko. Sa kanyang pagtitipon, muling binalik ni Ungab ang panawagan. Ang imahe ng Kongreso ay dapat ayusin. Let us correct the image of this Congress and restore honesty in public service, wika niya. Isang pahayag na nagdulot ng sandaling katahimikan sa bulwagan. Ang pangungusap na iyon, sa tono at bigat nito, ay hindi lamang isang panawagan. Naging hamon ito sa bawat lehislador na nandoon. Isang salamin kung paano nakikita ng bayan ang kanilang mga napipintong desisyon. Habang umiikot ang kamera ng public scrutiny, social media posts, vloggers at mga opinyon sa radyo, nagmistulang hindi lamang debate ang naganap kundi isang pampublikong pagsisiyasat. May mga nagsasabing kailangan ng mas malalim na forensic audit. May mga nananawagan ng agarang pag-usisa mula sa Commission on Audit at Department of Justice. At may ilan ding naniniwala na sapat na ang mga mekanismo na nakaukol sa loob ng Kongreso upang maitama ang mga anomalya. Sa pagtatapos ng sesyon, walang dramatikong resolusyon ang inihayag. Walang pagkakaaresto, walang biglaang pagkansila ng proyekto. Ngunit nagkaroon ng malinaw na pangako mula sa ilang miyembro. Iintensipihin ang koordinasyon sa mga ahensya, papatibayin ang oversight at pag-aaralan ang mga rekomendasyon para sa mas pinagigting na reporting at itemization. Ang salungguhit, ang pagbalanse sa kakayahang tumugon sa pangangailangan at ang pag-iwas sa napakalaking flexibility na maaaring abusuhin. lumabas ang mga lehislador mula sa plenaryo na may dalang papel at mabigat na pag-iisip. Sa mga pasilyo, patuloy ang usapan, mga diskusyon tungkol sa susunod na hakbang, mga petisyon mula sa mga sektor na umaasang mapupunta sa kanila ang tunay na serbisyo, at mga pangakong muling susuriin ang bawat linyang pinag-usapan. Para sa publiko, ang gabi ring iyon ay paalala. Ang bawat sentimong iniluluhod sa pondo ng bayan ay may dapat na paliwanag at pananagutan. At habang nagpapatuloy ang proseso ng pagdinig, ang hamon ay nananatiling malinaw. Hindi lang dapat maganda ang mga numero sa papel, dapat maganda rin ang kwento sa likod ng bawat proyekto. Kwentong totoo, kwentong naglilingkod, at kwentong may kapangyarihan magpabago. Kaya hinihikayat namin ang malawakang audit, publikong pag-uulat, at agarang aksyon laban sa anumang katiwalian o kapabayaan ngayon at bukas. Ang tiwala ng mamamayan ay nakataya. Ipaglaban natin ang integridad ng pondo at kinabukasan ng susunod na henerasyon at pagkakaisa.
Sorry po. So, icebreaker muna. Again, I propose an amendment to the budget of the Office of the Vice President in the form of a reduction from 889.24 million to its 2025 level of 733.2 million, representing a reduction of 156 million or 17.5%. This is found in House Gab Volume 1A, page 2, line 19. Madam Speaker, Madam Sponsor, may I briefly explain my proposed amendment? Every peso in this budget is the people's money. And when we demand accountability, we do so not out of hostility, but out of duty. Duty to the Constitution, duty to the people, and duty to the truth. Let me then again put this on record. VP Sara Duterte's repeated refusal to face this chamber is an insult. It spits on the duty of accountability. While she clings to millions in public funds, she refuses to explain. This is arrogance. Para tayong mga magulang na tinatabig at sinisigawan ng anak na tumatangging magpaliwanag kung saan napunta ang baon. Kahangalan ang magsabi na aksidente lamang ito o resulta ng pagkakamali. Malinaw na pangmamaliit ito sa Kongreso at sa taong bayan. Sa madaling salita po, paulit-ulit na tayong binabastos ng Vice Presidente. Congress holds the purse. And when a child squanders the family's money without answers, the remedy is clear. Bawasan ang baon hanggang matuto. Let me be clear. This reduction is discipline, not demolition. Malayo ito sa ginawa ng kanyang ama na ginamit ang budget para pahirapan ang Commission on Human Rights, a constitutional body created to defend the powerless. What we do here is different. We call out entitlement. We confront arrogance. We demand respect. Public money is not a toy. Hindi ito pabuya na pinamimigay sa mga imbentong tao na may imbentong pangalan sa mga imbentong project. It is a trust. And until the Vice President learns respect, this House must act as the parent that disciplines a brat. Alam ko po that this move will generate varied reactions. It might even be exploited by certain camps to elicit sympathy for VP Sara. Diyan naman sila magaling, kadramahan. Pero hindi pwedeng mangibabaw ang drama sa kung ano ang tama, sa kung ano ang makatwiran, at sa kung ano ang nararapat sa pagtatanggol sa dignidad ng institusyong ito at ng proseso ng pambansang budget. So, Madam Speaker, Madam Sponsor, I respectfully but firmly propose the reduction of the budget of the Office of the President. Vice President from 889.24 million to its 2025 level of 733.2 million. I so move. Maraming salamat po.
Madam
What
Speaker,
does the sponsor say?
To the following. First, we want to protect the interests of the personnel within the office of the Vice President. So given that the current proposal of the office of the Vice President reflects the salary increases of the said personnel in compliance with the salary standardization law, we will ensure that the personnel services will reflect that for the benefit of the employees of the Office of the Vice President. And second, we will also ensure that the final budget of the Office of the Vice President will be sufficient for the office to be able to perform its mandate. Sisiguraduhin po natin na hindi po maapektuhan ang pagganap ng Office of the Vice President sa tungkulin ng opisina sa kanilang budget para sa taong 2026.
Salamat po. Indeed, hindi naman talaga po maapektuhan. Kasi,
Majority Leader, what does the House say?
I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Madam Speaker, I move to accept the proposed amendment.
There's a motion to approve the proposed amendment. Is there any objection? The chair hears none. The motion is approved.
Okay.
Madam Speaker,
Majority Leader.
I move to recognize the Honorable Ungab.
The Honorable Sid
This
Ungab
is
is recognized.
Madam Speaker, thank you, Mr. Majority Leader. Thank you to the sponsoring chairman. This is an objection at the same time since the chair has ruled an appeal to the decision of the chair.
Majority Leader.
Not to decrease further the budget of the Office of the Vice President. Sobra na ang laki ng ibinaba ng budget ng opisina ng Office of the Vice President. Despite the drastic reductions for
Madam Speaker,
Majority Leader.
may we request that the Honorable Ungab stick to the motion to appeal the ruling of the sponsor rather than have an explanation.
Yes, Madam Speaker. The budget of the OVP has been deducted 2 times already in 2024 and 2025, and another reduction in 2026 with really, I would say, cripple the office. Only 2/3 of the original budget has been left. So I move to, I would like to appeal the decision of the chair, Mr. Speaker.
Majority Leader.
Madam Speaker, there being an appeal, Madam Speaker, there is an appeal to the ruling of the chair to reject the proposed amendment. I now move to divide the House. For the information of the body, an aye vote sustains the appeal and the nay vote defeats it. The majority kindly solicits a nay vote.
All those in favor to the appeal say aye. Aye. All those against say nay. Nay. The nays have it. The appeal is lost. Majority Leader.
Madam Speaker, moving on, I move that we recognize the Honorable Antonio Tino for his individual amendments.
The Honorable Antonio L. Tino from the ACT Teachers Party is recognized for his individual amendment.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I am one with the motion of the Honorable Jokno in moving for the total removal of the unprogrammed appropriations. However, since that motion has been lost, then I would like to propose some amendments to the special provisions in the unprogrammed appropriations. The first being to special provision number 1, availment of unprogrammed appropriations. I move that the language on release of funds be reverted to its original wording. Now, in the current wording, Madam Speaker, it says here, release of funds shall be subject to the submission of a special budget request and other relevant budgetary requirements in accordance with applicable laws. However, in earlier wordings of this provision, going back very many years, the wording is as follows. Release of funds shall be subject to the submission of a special budget pursuant to Section 35, Chapter 5, Book 6 of Executive Order Number 292, Series of 1987, and the following, and so on. That's the important amendment that I would like to propose. And now let me explain my proposed amendment. My proposal is to revert to the original language, which specifically refers to Section 35 of Book 6 of the Administrative Code. Because this is the specific law on availment of lump sum funds. And very clearly, unprogrammed appropriations fall under unprogrammed appropriations. And what is more important is that Section 35 specifically provides that any availment of lump sum funds requires the submission of a special budget, not a special budget request, which is what is mentioned in the provision, a special budget to be approved by the President. So, napakalinaw po sa batas na gumagabay sa mga lump sum funds, kailangan may approval ng Presidente. Why is that important? Because that serves as a safeguard against abuse of these lump sum funds. At ang nangyari po nga ngayon, with the flood control issue, yung unprogrammed appropriations ay inabuso. No? Napakalaki ng mga bagong proyekto na inaprubahan dito. So therefore, I move, Madam Speaker, that we revert to the language, and let me read again, that the special provision now read, release of funds shall be subject to the submission of a special budget pursuant to Section 35, Chapter 5, Book 6 of EO 292, Series of 1987.
What does the
That is my
sponsor
motion.
say?
Madam Speaker, with due respect to our honorable colleague, the Honorable Tino, this is something that I've already addressed during the debates on the lump sum funds. So the current special provision, Special Provision 1, as mentioned by the Honorable Tino, is a correction of the special provisions that were there in previous General Appropriations Acts. The reason why the reference to Section 35 was removed was because there was some inaccuracy in terms of referencing Section 35 in the first place. Because there is also jurisprudence with regard to this, and I believe I have shared the same with our distinguished colleague during the deliberations. The jurisprudence clearly states that the prevailing document in relation to the availment of unprogrammed appropriations would be the special budget request. And for that reason, in the current special provision as contained in the second reading version of the General Appropriations Bill, we retained that correction. So we removed any reference to Section 35. And with that, Madam Speaker, the committee respectfully rejects the amendment proposed by our distinguished colleague.
What does the House say?
Madam Speaker, we join the sponsor in rejecting the said amendment.
Madam Speaker, I object.
Majority Leader?
Madam Speaker, there is a motion to reject the proposed amendment which was objected by the Honorable Tino. I now move to divide the House. For the information of the body, an aye vote sustains the motion to reject the amendment and a nay vote defeats it. The majority solicits an aye vote.
There is a motion to reject the proposed amendment which was objected to be by the Honorable Tino. All those in favor to reject the proposed amendment, say aye. Aye. All those against the motion, say nay. The ayes have it. The amendment is lost.
The ayes have it.
Majority Leader.
Mr. Chair, clarification. The ruling was that the ayes have it. The ayes
Yes.
Madam Speaker,
support
to clarify,
Majority Leader.
the ruling was that the ayes have it as a result because an aye vote sustained the motion to reject the amendment.
So I repeat the ruling, the ayes have it, the amendment is lost. Majority Leader.
Madam Speaker, I now move to recognize the
Madam Speaker, I still have another proposed
Yes,
amendment.
proceed to your next
Sorry.
amendment, Honorable Tino.
Thank you. Still on the special provisions on unprogrammed appropriations, since the unprogrammed appropriations have been retained. This has to do with special provision number 9 of the unprogrammed appropriations. Amounts under the unprogrammed appropriations. The DBM is hereby authorized to approve the following: use of appropriations within the authorized purposes, and B, use of appropriations under the purposes of the unprogrammed appropriations, except the budgetary support to GOCCs and the support to foreign assisted projects, to cover deficiencies in the amounts authorized in any of the purposes under the unprogrammed appropriations. Madam Speaker, this is a insidious and very dangerous provision. It empowers the DBM to take any amount in the unprogrammed, for any purpose in the unprogrammed appropriations, and enables the DBM to augment this amount with any other of the amounts authorized in unprogrammed appropriations. Ibig po sabihin, sa simpleng salita, binibigyan ng DBM ng kapangyarihan na i-realign ang halos buong amount ng unprogrammed appropriations para sa anumang purpose. No? So kaya po, nagiging only na discretionary fund ang unprogrammed appropriations dito. Kung sinabi po ng Kongreso na it authorizes, say, 100 billion for a specific purpose, no? Let's say, pension and gratuity, 100 billion, pero pwede pong dagdagan pa ng kahit magkano ng DBM for as long as it falls within the total amount of the unprogrammed appropriation. So dapat po tanggalin ito, pambihirang kapangyarihan at discretion ang binibigay dito, at lalo pa at tinatanggal po nung ni-reject na proposal ko kanina, tinatanggal na po yung final check and balance na dapat presidente ang accountable sa unprogrammed appropriations. Dapat tanggalin na rin po ang kapangyarihang ito na binibigay sa DBM. Therefore, I propose that number 9 be deleted. The special provision number 9 be deleted.
What does the sponsor say?